What's up, brother?
Hey, how you doing today? My name is David, and I'm with USA Homeless Crisis, and I help the homeless people, and I come and talk to homeless people and find out how they doing, and see what I can do to help them, and to ask them would they like to share their story, so people can see how the homeless life is coming directly from someone homeless. So, do you mind if I talk to you for a few minutes?
Yeah, please, brother.
Oh, thank you, sir. What is your name?
My name's Brian.
How you doing, Brian?
I'm alright.
Brian, where are you from?
Burleson, Texas. Born and raised.
Born and raised in Burleson, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. How did you become homeless?
I became homeless because I was dealing with some CPS factors. You know what I mean? Some family issues. Me and my baby mama were splitting up, and it just, you know what I mean. I was doing everything right, so I assumed I was gonna get my custody. You know what I mean? It was looking good. It was looking okay, but I have a stepson. You know what I mean? That's their big brother, my two kids' big brother, and I was gonna, you know what I mean? I kind of sacrificed for him. You know what I mean? Made sure that he had somewhere to go. So I signed my rights. You know what I mean? And that's how I ended up out here 10 years ago. Like, you know what I mean? It was just to get out the way so my mother could get him.
You signed your rights to your son away?
To my two kids. You know
to your two kids?
Yeah, for my son that wasn't mine. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, so you
he
did
didn't get left behind.
Oh, so you did it kind of for to help them, to give, so someone that's responsible could take care of them. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I felt like I was doing mostly the right things. You know what I mean? I might have been smoking a little chiba back then, but you know what I mean? I wasn't doing too much wrong. You know what I mean? I was working and trying to take care of my family. You know what I'm saying? And my stepson that I raised since she was born, I wasn't gonna, you know what I mean? I wasn't gonna just turn my back on him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you said that was about 10 years ago?
Yep.
So have you been in touch with anybody in 10 years?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I stay in touch with my family. I stay in touch with my mom. I talk to my kids. I mean, you know what I mean? I spent a couple of years in prison since being out here. You know what I mean? I've never been locked up before coming out here. You know what I mean? It's become a way of life, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, so you was incarcerated for a while.
Yeah.
And after you got out, what happened to you then? How was your life? Were you homeless after you got out of jail?
No, I didn't. No, I worked for a little while. You know what I mean? I was fucking doing what I was supposed to. I had all my, like, I got my stimulus. Like, I was in there whenever the coronavirus hit the first time for 2 years, and when I came home, you know what I mean? Everything was a little different. You know what I mean? And I mean, I just started paying. I started paying for my apartment, and then I got a job, and I was working. Everything was going all right, and then just some shit happened over there in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? Some bad shit. Shit went south. You know what I mean? And so, you know what I mean? What else could I do? You know what I mean? But jump back on my 35 and head north. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Try to make sure that it wasn't going to go south here.
Right. Well, we can understand that, how people have different things that happen to them, and you gotta adapt to the situation and move on. And we don't hold any.
Beaumont saved my life. You know what I mean? 2 years in there saved my life. It did. I was 110 pounds soaking wet. You know what I mean, fam? And I mean it. I was 110 pounds soaking wet, and I was a needle in my arm, and I didn't give a fuck about nothing. You know what I mean? I was on a downward spiral. I was. You know what I mean? That 2 years, I mean, it was a little bit longer than what I felt like I needed, but you know what I mean? 2 years to save my life. You know what I mean? I mean, I was home for a year. Everything was, you know what I mean? Everything was different, but you know what I mean? There was unity out here. You know what I mean? We were sticking together and standing up. You know what I mean? For our community.
Yeah.
And, I mean, this is my home out here. This is what I call my home out here. You know what I mean? Where my roots lie in these streets out here. You know what I mean? Since '98, I've been out here hustling, and you know what I mean. This is where I feel comfortable at. You know what I mean? where I feel comfortable at. I did it. I got put up for another year. I did a year in Lindsay. That was really kind of a setback. You know what I mean?
Tell us a little bit about that. How did you ended up doing a year there after you had, this is after you had got out?
Yeah, I had a fucking mental relapse. You know what I mean? And they took me up to the 10th floor for a couple of days over there. You know what I mean? Burleson took me down there and I had a fucking dope baggie with fucking residue in it, you know what I mean, that they found in my, and they didn't write me a ticket or nothing, you know what I mean? I did a fucking year flat on that, a year flat, you know what I mean? I got caught with a half a gram over here in Tarrant County on that warrant, you know what I mean, and did fucking 60 days, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they gave me, you know what I mean? They said, no, you know what I mean? It's just a fucking little bit of dope, you know what I mean? Not a big deal. I mean, shit was what it was, you know what I mean?
When you say you had a mental relapse then, would you say you have some type of mental issues also, or what would you, or was it you just?
Yeah, I have manic anxiety and manic depression, you know what I mean? I do, yeah. But I only go manic, you know what I mean, when my depression kicks in.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was just, I mean, it was that time, it was a year after fucking some shit happened, you know what I mean? And I wish I could go back in time, but you know what I mean, I can't change none of that, you know what I mean? That's what I was trying to do the first time around, you know what I mean? I mean, like I said, I was 100, look fam, I was 110 pounds soaking wet. I take care of myself nowadays, you know what I mean? I'm in good shape, I'm in good health, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I believe in taking care of my body, you know what I mean? Just because I'm out here living this life, you don't mean that, you know what I mean? I'm letting it waste me away to nothing. You know what I mean?
Well, I like your positive attitude. And you know, I'd like everybody to know this is Christmas Day. It is the wee hours of the morning from Christmas Eve. So it has changed over to Christmas Day.
I should be at home, you know what I mean, with my family right now, but I'm out here defending on the streets, you know what I mean?
Defending on the streets at 3 a.m. in the morning on Christmas Day. And how many, and you said you've been out here on the streets for 10 years.
10 years, yeah.
And there's a lot of holidays you've been away from your family.
Yeah.
I
used to always go home during the holidays. This is what, you know what I mean? Look, after getting set up for a year, this last year, I haven't really gone home, you know what I mean? I said, you know what, I missed 3, locked up. I always run to mom, you know what I mean? I always run home to mama. No, I'm not running home to mama this year. You know what I mean? I'm 36 years old, I gotta make a stand somewhere, right? You know what I mean? That's what I've been doing this last year. It's like standing my ground, standing on my feet, and trying to uphold my brothers around me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds great. So, this year coming up, what are your plans to get yourself out of your situation and from being homeless and back the way you were when you were doing good?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't plan on leaving these streets anytime soon. I don't, you know what I mean? I see God for who he is out here, you know what I mean? I got people that care about me, people that fight for me, you know what I mean? I got my family at home, yeah, you know what I mean? But I can go home to them anytime, you know what I mean? My kids are growing up now, you know what I mean? I live off the land. You know what I mean? I like to make music, and I like to make swords. You know what I mean? That's one of the things I do. And living off the land, it's easier to find those metals that I need. You know what I mean?
You know, tell us a little bit about that. You know, because a lot of people say that they like being out here homeless and actually living off the land, just like you said, and they feel free out here. They can do the things they want. So tell us a little bit about what you mean by that. You living off the land and you enjoy it out here.
I mean, it's about taking care of the land. You know what I mean? You can't just you know what I mean, spout on the land and not spit for it. You know what I mean? Not be about it. You know what I mean? And take care of it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's some of these people out here that don't really care. You know what I mean? I mean, my house is torn apart right now because, you know what I mean, that's what they keep doing to my house. They keep going in there tearing up my stuff. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I mean? They're looking for goodies. You know what I mean? But you know, they can at least clean up after themselves. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, you know what I mean? A couple bad people. You know what I mean? Make it hard for the rest of it. The police are out here on our asses every day. You know what I mean? for what? You know what I mean? We're just like everybody else trying to live. You know what I mean? I literally I work. My hands are, look at those hands. Those are hands of a worker. You know what I mean?
What type of work do you like to do?
I'm a metallurgist. I like to surge metals. You know what I mean? I like to take metals and with sheer force and friction sometimes taper them and weld them together.
Okay, that sounds like a great profession. You have a lot of experience doing that. Tell us a little bit about that.
I mean, I just picked it. It's one.
Did you learn any of that when you were incarcerated anywhere, or that is something you did before that?
It's just something that I picked up
Okay.
naturally. You know what I mean? It's something I picked up naturally. You know what I mean? I've never been to school for any of it. But I mean, that ring that I'm wearing right there, that's one we made this year. You know what I mean? We made it into 2 swords that were actually made out of the same metal. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
that was the cut ends. There was 2 rings made out of it. As the cut ends.
Let me get a close up on that.
You see
That's
see that?
awesome. That is very beautiful.
Yeah.
So you make weapons and swords, you said?
Yeah. I mean, I like it's a hobby of mine. You know what I mean? It ain't my passion, but it's a hobby of mine. I like to make my passion is making music. I love to make music, man. You know what I mean?
You mentioned that to me. Tell me a little bit about your music. What type of music do you make?
I mean, I like to rap. You know what I mean? I like the freestyle.
Oh, can you freestyle?
I mean, yeah.
Can you freestyle right now?
I mean, right now, my head's in a different place.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
okay.
My head's in a different place, so my heart's, you know what I mean, on something totally different. So, you know what I mean? I tend to follow. I tend to follow my feet. You know what I mean? Where my heart leads it. You know what I mean? And just right now, you know what I mean? Yeah, I love doing that. You know what I mean?
Okay.
They just been taken from it. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean,
So-
I like to give to the underground. You know what I mean? I give it back. You know what I mean? That's why this city is built up like it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, my brother Ace, the future of Texas for real. You know what I mean? That's my bro. We call him Ace. You know what I mean? We call him Ace for a long time. Since I was a kid, I've known Junior. That's my bro. You know what I mean? He gives shout out for me that I made half of his music. You know what I mean?
Okay, he's a music artist and a friend of yours. Is he homeless, or is he just a friend?
He was incarcerated for a while. He was homeless for a little bit, but he moved back out to California. As far as I know, from what I understand, you know what I mean. He moved back out there to California because he just couldn't stand it. He couldn't take it no more. You know what I mean? He couldn't take the way, you know what I mean, the way they were watching. He was watching some of his people do his brother. That's really what it was. You know what I mean? So he said, I'm going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If y'all would just get the ball rolling, that's how he says it. You know what I mean? He says, if y'all would just get the ball rolling, or at least stay out the way when the ball gets rolling. You know what I mean? And quit trying to stop the ball from rolling.
I want to ask you this because you seem like a very, very resilient man, and you on the streets and you've been out here a long time.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the cold weather and the different harsh temperatures and the sleeping and different things that people are concerned about? And you said that you're comfortable out here.
Man, I'm blessed. I'm one of the few blessed around here, man. I got a good working job up here at the 7-Eleven. You know what I mean? There's people up here that look out for me for real. I clean up their parking lot. You know what I mean? I do their trash, and they let me come in. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for that, I'd probably would freeze to death out here sometimes for real. You know what I mean? That's my blessing over there. You know what I mean? I'm blessed to have that. I work hard for that, though. You know what I mean? I work very hard for that. I mean, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm blessed with that, and so I got to take that as my blessing. You know what I mean? I don't have to worry about my next, and I don't go looking for my last. You know what I mean? Most homeless people have to do that. You know what I mean? God has gifted me. You know what I mean? With the ability to work hard for something. You know what I mean? So I've gotten that, and I've achieved that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. You mentioned God a lot. You have strong faith. Do you mind telling us about it? Because that is something that is very interesting that we like to hear about from people that's surviving on the streets. They faith a lot of times help them persevere. And I would just
blind faith. Yeah, we walk in blind. You know what I mean? I walk in blind faith. That's the only way I know how to live. You know what I mean? I've learned how to walk in spirit. You know what I mean? I try to, and you know know what I mean? Paul spoke it the best, you know what I mean? He wrote the 7 epistles, you know what I mean? Because, you know what I mean, our feet is our will, you know what I mean? Our heart is our done, you know what I mean? How we're supposed to live, you know what I mean? Like Christ. And it's, you know what I mean? He said it in those writings, you know what I mean? In his letters to the churches, you know what I mean? It's not ourselves why we fall short, you know what I mean? It's our brothers next to our man next to us, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? We don't get that hand up. That's what he was trying to tell them, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Our differences aside, you know what I mean? When you know what I mean? When and where do we give our hand up? You know what I mean? That's what he was really trying to preach in there, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not easy, but you know what I mean? As long as I stay faithful, you know what I mean? And I know that God's gonna have my back. I mean, I'm gonna keep marching on. You know what I mean? That's all I can do.
Yes, sir. We truly understand that, and we truly respect you for that, and we all praying for you. If you had a chance to say something on behalf of the homeless, because what I try to do is to come up with different solutions that could actually help solve the homeless crisis, and I know this is a big job, but most homeless people have different ideas because they are actually out here living the homeless life.
Yeah.
And I always ask them, what ideas do you actually have that could help solve the homeless problem?
I mean, you got a community center down there. You know what I mean? You got all the stuff down there in Lancaster. You know what I mean? But what about the people that are out this way? You know what I mean? In Central. You know what I mean? That they need something out here, like a community center type thing. You know what I mean? Something for. There's a lot of homeless people that live on the outskirts. You know what I mean? That's what we're backwoods boys. You know what I mean? We live in the nooks and crannies. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, Lancaster, you know what I mean, is all covered and all well. You know what I mean? But what about the people that are out here? You know what I mean? They could use some help out here. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Do you think shelters is just enough? How? Because we see people in shelters and people living outside of the shelters, but they're gonna still be homeless without a way of taking care of themselves.
Yeah, it's not a shelter that they need. You know, they actually are in the midst of building one over here downtown. You know what I mean? It's part of the big church over there. You know what I mean? They're in the midst of building that. You know what I mean? It's a community center that they need. You know what I mean? Something that everything can meet in the middle. You know what I mean? And get the help that they need and get like, you know what I mean? You got to go out and get. Like I don't stay in those shelters. I won't stay in a shelter. You know what I mean? I believe that I can live off the land and God will provide for me. You know what I mean? Not everybody's like that, but there still needs to be somewhere to turn to if I want to get housing. You know what I mean? And if I want to get all those things. You know what I mean? Why I ain't got to walk all the way down there. You know what I mean? Or try to find a bus ride to get all the way down there to get it. You know what I mean?
Right. Do you have a tent, or where do you actually stay?
I stay right over here by the slab. I stay the slab on the church on the slab. I stay right across the street from it up on the railroads. You know what I mean? I have a tent over there. Yeah.
Okay, you have a tent on the railroad.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have friends that live around you in other tents? So like a community of people that are looking after each other?
I mean, it used to be like that, but it doesn't seem like it's like that anymore. You know what I mean? I used to live over there off of Riverside, and we had behind the school. We had 30 of us living back there at one time. You know what I mean? And that's what we used to do. I mean, like, hey, look, I'm gonna go get wood today. You go get water. You know what I mean? Or whatever it was. You know what I mean? And we all lived. You know what I mean? I used to run around and fill up 3 carts full of gallon waters. You know what I mean? Every day, and I'd fill up a cart of wood. You know what I mean? And I just go drop it on my friends over there. You know what I mean? Here, y'all, this is for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it just doesn't seem like it's like that anymore. You know what I mean? I got a couple people around me. You know what I mean? But it's not a community over there. You know what I mean?
Well, I noticed that while people be sleep, like right now, 3 or 4 in the morning it is, and it's Christmas Day, we see homeless people moving around just like it's a normal day for them. It's like there's no set hours when you're homeless.
It's not so much that, man. You know what I mean? It's hard to sleep on these streets. You know what I mean? When you got to sleep with one eye open and one eye closed. You know what I mean? That's how real it is, though. You know what I mean?
You know, and since you are out here, we'd like to know, how is it out here for the homeless women? Because we are concerned about them. I have talked to some homeless women, and they tell us it's tough out here.
That's our essence, you know what I mean? That we're supposed to be building that up, man. You know what I mean? And it's tough on them, man. You know what I mean? It's tough on them. Now, there was a big push that was made this year, you know what I mean? And a lot of those women got housing. They did, you know what I mean? And they got pushed up to the front of the line, you know what I mean? Some of them were, you know what I mean, taken away from that because of, you know what I mean, the crowd that they ran with, you know what I mean? It's a misfortune, you know what I mean? But I mean, you know what I mean? It's part of life, you know what I mean? If they're gonna live that life, you know what I mean? You gotta expect that life, you know what I mean? But I mean, yeah, there is a lot of the women nowadays, they get pushed up forward, you know what I mean, on that list, on that waiting list.
Mm-hmm.
They used to all sit at the back of it, you know what I mean? And it never seemed to turn over the housing, you know what I mean? There's a lot of them. I mean, you look out here, no, there used to be girls all over this thing, you know what I mean? It's not like that anymore, you know what I mean? If they go get the help, they go down there, you know what I mean? They have to go down there to Lancaster, and they have to go to the, you know what I mean, to that building over there, and they have to sit there for probably 2 days, you know what I mean, getting an ID and you know what I mean, and getting somebody to sponsor them, you know what I mean? But that person will put in for them, and yeah, I mean, they'll get up out of here, you know what I mean? But yeah, if they're out here and they're trying to live out here, it's not easy. Okay. You know what I mean?
Well,
we should be making it a lot easier. You know what I mean? That's our easy way out of here. You know, that's what I call it. Our essence. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
The women is our essence. That is a great way of looking at it. And you know, what advice would you have for a person out here that's surviving out here on the streets? What would you say to them? How to actually make it? Because it seems like you are able to deal with everything out here, and you choose to be out here. What advice would you give to people out here homeless on how they could survive and thrive like you are?
Don't be afraid to get the shirt off your back sometimes, you know what I mean? Even if you feel like you ain't got, you know what I mean? If you give like that, you know what I mean? God's gonna always have you when you need it. That's one thing that I've learned out here on these streets, you know what I mean? It's saved my life more times than I even know. You know what I mean? Just because I gave the shirt off my back to somebody, you know what I mean? And they were in more need than I was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you live like that, you don't have a whole lot of worries. You don't have a whole lot of worries around you. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's how I keep myself protected out here. You know what I mean? Giving, just giving. You know what I mean? I give. You know what I mean? And God has always come through and made sure that I had when I need it. You know what I mean?
Wow, that is good advice, and I want everyone to take that advice and to always remember it is better to give than to receive. You know, it's always treat others the way you would have others treat you. And if you live that way, you can never go wrong. And you know, I will want everybody to subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate the support. And my friend, I really appreciate talking to you and you telling us about the homeless life and what's going on out here. You giving us a in-depth look at what's going on so people can see the reality of homeless life. Thank you so much for telling us. And there's anything else you would like to say before we leave?
I mean, just a shout out to my block over there on Riverside. You know what I mean? That's where I get my most love at. You know what I mean? For real. That's a tough neighborhood out there. You know what I mean? But I got people that cut for me over there. You know what I mean? Just a shout out to all my brothers out there on Riverside.
And that is the area that you be at, because a lot of the listeners, when they see someone on the channel, and they would like to ask them if there's anything they could do for them and help them. So
I mean, that's my stomping ground. You know what I mean? But I'm out here on 35 in Central. You know what I mean? Trying to string up and round out anything on Rosedale that we can. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That's all we can do. You know what I mean? I try to string up all my bros and just to make them see it. You know what I mean? On the block and roll out for whatever I can. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Roll out for whatever's got my six at the end. You know.
Okay. Well, again, everybody, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And thank you again, my friend. And we're going to continue to fight to end homelessness wherever it is.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
God bless.